So I've been going back and forth about whether or not uh, he he is a narcissist. And to be honest, I believe I was in a marriage when I was married with a narcissist. Just the smear campaign, the moving fast, the trying to tie me in a knot, uh, those type of things lead me to believe that that person was just pure evil and diabolical. And in the situation with the man I was in a non-exclusive dating relationship with, he would, when I think on the very first date, he mentioned that uh, people he'd dated before had called him narcissistic. He said, "Do you think I'm narcissistic?" And I gotta admit, when he said that on the first day, I thought that was very interesting. And I was a little perplexed, maybe a little confused, because the first thought that, well, what I had said to him was, I don't have enough information on you to make that determination. That's what I said. But what I thought was, a person that's truly a narcissist is probably not going to be asking, "Hey, do you think I'm a narcissist?" Right? And throughout the time we were dating, every once in a while he'll say, "Oh, people have called me cunning and diabolical in the past." And I'm sitting here looking for some uh, diabolical behavior to take place. And I gotta say, I have yet, and almost a year of knowing this person, I have yet to see any behavior that I think was diabolical. Only thing I can say is that he was doing typical man stuff, and possibly, like, typical man player stuff. Somebody, who's playing the dating game, who's dating around, who's trying to juggle women, who's trying to chase women, who's in a state of heartbreak from their last uh, serious relationship, so they're just playing around. But there were times where I would think, okay, he's going to show me how diabolical he is by smearing me this way or that way. And that never, ever happened. Um, the worst I think happened was that he met a friend of mine and thought she was cute, and like was like kind of checking her out, like looking her up and down, checking her out. But do you know how many men um that are taking in relationships are still checking out other women? Like, it doesn't quite, it doesn't mean anything unless they actually, like, follow through. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, men I've checked out that I've like looked at and never touched, and never was going to try to touch or do anything or try to holler. Just, I looked at him, I'm like, man, that man is very attractive. I mean, to me, that was like kind of like the same thing, believe it or not. So I remember we were on a committee together, and I'm thinking, this guy is gonna do something to, like, make me look bad, to smear my name, to stress me out. And I gotta say, he never did any of that stuff. So when I think about somebody who is diabolical, who's evil, who's narcissistic, who's like self-absorbed, I think about my ex-husband. I think about how he does all this posturing, and he's just a bitch ass nigga, we gotta tell you. But he does all this posturing about, oh, I want to see the kids. I miss the kids. But then it's like, okay, if I let him on his own do it, and actually for a whole year, I let him say, okay, I'm going to get the kids every other weekend. And what he did for an entire year, mind you, we live 10 minutes away from each other. He would get the kids from like 12 to 4 every other Saturday. We live 10 minutes away from each other. And that's the only time he would see them. And finally, after a year, I said, and actually, I think me trying to actually date really um, made it so that I, I finally pushed my ex-husband to do this. I said, you need, if you don't have, because what happened was he was renting a room, so he didn't have any place for them to stay overnight. So my thing was, if you don't have a place for them to stay overnight, that's fine, but you need to take them the whole day. And not only do you need to take them the whole day, you need to take them every week. So you need to take them Saturday one day from 8 to 8, and Sunday the next weekend from 8 to 8. And one of the things I found that he was doing, this is what I call diabolical, it was that on Sundays he would drop them off at 6. I said, and I'm like, why are you dropping off at 6? Oh, I figured it's a school night, you would want them earlier. I didn't tell you to drop them off at 6. I told you to drop them off at 8. I want my day to myself, my one day to myself this week. I want it. And I'm sitting there at 6 o'clock on the phone, like trying to talk to a friend or trying to talk to somebody I'm dating, and these kids walking at 6 o'clock. And I had specifically told this man 8 o'clock. And finally, it's like I had to put it in a text message. Do not drop these kids off until 8 o'clock. And then finally, he said, "Okay, I'll do it." Uh, the month of July, this man picked up these kids one time. I think it was one time. Actually, no, maybe yeah. If there was no, it was 5. If there were 5 weekends of July, he picked them up the one time, and then his proposal was for the rest of the weekend, the other weekend. Oh well, since I'm going to be away this weekend, I'll pick them up and take them to dinner on Thursday. And I said, finally, I had to put my foot down. I said, no, you need to pick them up both Saturday and Sunday of the next weekend. And he did it. And he picked them up that Thursday night for dinner, because you got to understand, we live 10 minutes away from each other. Or at the time, we lived 10 minutes away from each other. Now, I think we live maybe like 25 minutes away from each other because he moved. And so the month of July, if there were 5 Saturdays in July, he saw them like 3 of them. He was away. The first time it was like he went on a vacation 4th of July weekend. The second time he went to a convention, and after he came back from the convention, he sends me a message saying, "Oh, I've been exposed to COVID-19. I have to quarantine." And then he sends me another message saying, "Oh yeah, I tested negative, but my quarantine is till Sunday. So, provided I continue to test negative, I won't. I'll pick them up next weekend." And I'm like, "The fuck is wrong with you? If you tested negative, nigga, you don't got no damn coronavirus." Like, and you know, sometimes I like to let people hang themselves. So I didn't say that to him. I wanted to see if he really was going to let another weekend go by without seeing his children. And he really let another weekend go by without seeing his children. And it was, "Oh, I'm quarantining. You don't have coronavirus. You tested negative. Like, there is no need for you to not see these children." Right? It was just an excuse. So then the next weekend, um, he said, I don't know if I should pick him up on Saturday because I'm moving into my new apartment. I finally got a 1-bedroom apartment. I'm going to be able to be a relief to you. I could keep him overnight. I could get like an air mattress or a day bed, and they'll be jamming. And I'm like, okay. He's like, so I don't know if I should pick them up on Saturday because that's when the move. I say, why can't you just pick them up on Sunday then? It was kind of like he was trying to use him moving into the apartment as a fourth weekend to not see these children. I'm like, you need to pick them up on Sunday. So Sunday comes, he picks them up. I go to my church. He takes them to his church. And then while I'm in church, let me back up. What you gotta understand is that the older child has a job and works till 10 p.m. at night. So while I'm in church, my older child sends me a text message saying, "Hey, Dad wants to know what time you want to drop off the younger child." And I respond at the same time he drops off you, the older child. I don't, because I'm like, this is my day, right? And to have like some time to myself. He hadn't seen these kids in like it been three weekends have gone by. He hasn't seen these kids, so my thing was, you dropped them off. In between all this, he had sent me he had called me and said, "Hey, I'm getting this 1 bedroom apartment. I'm gonna be able to take the kids overnight. How do you want to do visitation?" And I'm like, "Are you putting this all in my control?" I was like, "Why don't you send me a proposal? Because I want to see what he's going to say." Right? This is about the ex-husband, and I see what he says, and the visitation proposal was bullshit. You live far away from this school, right? Why would you pick them up Saturday? Why don't you pick them up Friday, right? Pick them up Friday, drop off Sunday. I've been doing it, right? I know what I'm doing. Like, one of the things I've said before, men are just not good caretakers. So why would I entrust you to drop this child off to school, right? Let me do that. Let me handle that. You get the kid Friday and Saturday night, and you give that kid back to me on Sunday. So, and actually, I haven't really responded with that yet, but that reminds me, I have to respond with that. But so he sends me this proposal, and then he starts. Oh, I guess a week goes by because I'm like, okay, well, this proposal is not starting for another 2 weeks after you move in. So I'm like, uh, I'm like, just really pondering and thinking about this proposal, because to me the proposal was bullshit. And he starts calling me saying, you haven't responded. And I'm like, I'm still thinking about this bullshit proposal. The proposal is bullshit, right? And maybe that's what I need to say. Maybe I need to send a text message saying, you sent me a bullshit proposal and you want me to respond to this bullshit proposal, right? Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe that's what I need to do. And it's just like, I was so flabbergasted that he sent me such a bullshit proposal that I'm like, I have nothing nice to say. I don't know how to respond without it just being mean. And um he started calling me, and I'm like, this is not urgent, right? This is not going to take place until another week, right? So I don't answer the phone. Then he calls our older child, and the older child comes up to me and said, "Dad wants to know." I said, "Look," I said to the older child, I said, "You know what, this is not urgent. I'm busy. I'm not answering right now." Then he calls my older sister, and it says to my older sister, "Oh, your sister is not responding to my he he called me and said that you're not responding to him." And she said, "I just want to let you know this, but I'm staying out of it." And to me, that's a diabolical motherfucker, right? So when the guy I was dating saying he's diabolical, no, you're not diabolical, right? You might have a little bit of growing up to do. You might have some insecurities to work on, but I don't see anything cunning and diabolical about you. I just think that you just got, you gotta, you own. And at me honest with you, I'm like, you own your stuff, and you working on it. So I guess I say all to say, anytime somebody says to you, I am so terrible and I am so bad and I'm so narcissistic. I mean, this has been my experience. They're probably not. They're probably just fishing for compliments. They're probably just insecure and fishing for compliments and want reassurance. And I think that's all it was. So I think that's all for now.